All right, let's get this show on the road. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder and CEO of Level 10 Contractor. We are an agency that works specifically with the home improvement and home remodeling industries to do marketing things like building websites, doing SEO services, and also advertising. We specialize in both digital advertising, things like Google AdWords / pay-per-click, also Facebook, paid advertising, and we have a tremendous specialty in traditional advertising, which includes radio and TV, and to a smaller extent, billboards. Our agency has somewhere on the order of about $10 million of ad spend under management for our various clients. We also have a large client roster of SEO clients that we perform ongoing SEO for, and we've built dozens and dozens of websites. Just to give you an idea of who I am and what we do. So we're going to talk today about how to squeeze 20% more sales out of your existing leads. And this topic is, I don't know if it's a result of, or it's just the timing is coincidental, but I had a conversation recently that I want to tell you about that. Well, before I tell you about the conversation, let me just give you a little bit more intro on me. I wrote a book called Unlocking Unlimited Lead Flow. You can get that at Amazon if you have any interest in that. Also, want to make sure you know about this. I have a podcast that I do every single day. I've been doing it for 4 years now, starting in September of 2019, and we're now starting into our 5th year. So yeah, that is quite the operation. There's 1,400 episodes. Anything that you can think of that is marketing related, I promise you it is on there, and you can find any topic marketing related that you want. There's plenty of information there. I really encourage you to look it up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you like to listen to your podcast. It's on all the typical platforms, and just scroll, and look for topics that are interesting to you. You will find them. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about this meeting I was in. It's about a week or so ago, and it was a meeting of a bunch of, I don't know, people who know stuff in the industry, and we get together once a month and we talk about various issues and situations and opportunities and difficulties and all those kinds of things. And in this, the floor up to the following question: hey, what are you seeing that's that's changing or different? There seems to be a slowdown. What are you seeing? And there was a lot of conversation about this. Leads are slowing down was a very big conversation. Things that were working are not working as well as they used to. What can we do to generate more leads? And this was the question that everybody wanted to know. What can we do now, September 2023, to generate more leads? Because lead flow seems to be universally down. And so everybody kind of went around the horn and gave some opinions and some suggestions. Here's some things we're doing. Here's some things that we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of looked at me and they said, hey, Rich, you're knee deep in this industry. You wrote a book called Unlocking Unlimited Lead Flow. You surely have some kind of a solution to this. And I thought, do I say what I really want to say? Or do I just give a quick little easy answer and pass the torch to somebody else? And if you know me, I decided to say what I really wanted to say. And I started talking about this idea. It kind of goes like this. You need to look at your marketing holistically. If you're running around trying to jump from lead gen opportunity to lead gen opportunity to lead gen opportunity, it's not going to work very well consistently over time. You're going to run into problems. You're going to run into some situations like these people were talking about on this call. And I told them, you need to look at this from less of a tactical basis. What tactics should we use? And more of a principle based. What are the principles that underlie marketing success that you need to be utilizing? And look at them and ask yourself, are you utilizing these underlying marketing principles. And the fact is, the overwhelming majority of companies, they're not. They're just stacking techniques and tactics on top of each other. We're going to go buy some leads from this lead generation company that's selling leads over here. And if they don't work as well as they used to, then we'll just move to a different one. If we go to this one over here and it's not working as well as it used to, we'll move to this other one. If we're over here, we're doing pay-per-click. If it stops working as well, we'll shift dollars over to this thing. And it's just sort of this shell game of what's working, what's not working. Now, look, I'm not suggesting that that's a bad thing or it's a wrong thing, but if those tactics are not on the foundation that's built on real marketing principles, which is what we're going to talk about today, tactics, yes, and also principles, then you're going to be very subject to these sort of industry ups and downs like we're seeing. Well, my gosh, we've been seeing this for a long time now. Here's how most companies think: generate leads, go close those leads, then generate some more leads, and then close those, and then just repeat that ad nauseum. That's their process. And fair enough, but again, look what's happened from 2020 to 2023. Flush with cash, leads were coming in. It was easy to get leads. There was a period of time from about May 2020, right after the pandemic hit, and everybody decided, oh, look, we got a bunch of free money here. So they started spending all this free money on home improvements, amongst many other things. Cars were impossible to find, shutdowns there and a lack of availability, but everybody had money. So everybody in this industry was flush with cash, and they got fat, dumb, and happy. That's really the bottom line of what happened. And then when those easy leads started to constrict and not flow quite as easily, people are starting to panic. Okay, so I want to talk about principles, and I'm going to give you some principles right now that I'm going to reference back to as we go through this webinar today, because this is a webinar full of tactics, but I want to make sure that you don't miss the principles. So the first principle is you need to make educating the marketplace and your prospects about your advantages a tier 1 priority. This needs to be the fundamental, most important thing that you do. I gave a speech in, gosh, it was the end of last year, the beginning of this year. It was something along the lines of why branding should be your #1 priority in 2023. And I don't think very many people listened to me. They heard it and they went, wow, that sounds really good. That's neat, Rich. And then they just went out there and said, hey, Angie's List, give me more leads. And they didn't brand, and they just kept buying leads. And I'm telling you, you've got to educate the marketplace and your prospects about who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when they do business with you. It fortifies you against downturns. Next principle: put the leads that you're already getting through the freaking ringer. Make them work for you, and then work them again. I want you to think of that sort of meme of the drill sergeant that you see in the movies, and he's screaming at the recruits, and he's in their face and spit's flying, and he's angry, and they're scared, and he's tough. You need to treat your leads like that dadgum drill sergeant. You need to make these suckers work, and we're going to talk about that today a lot. Next, relentlessly improving your sales processes. I'm going to give you a tip today, a tactic today that I think will make a big difference for you. And I want you to take some action on that. We'll get to that here in a minute. And then preemptively destroy objections that your prospects have. This is also kind of ties back to #1, which is educating people. And then I'm also going to talk, it's not on the screen here, but I'm going to talk a little bit at the very end about using your customer base more effectively. I can count on one finger, literally. There's tens of thousands of home improvement companies. There's one that I know that has been able to effectively scale leads from repeat and referral business to over $20 million in sales. Now, I do find a bunch of smaller companies, $2-3 million in sales, and half their leads are coming from repeat business and referrals. But it's because they're not really doing any marketing, and they've just been around forever. So now it's 13 years later, and a guy needs another project, and he calls you up, and you get the job. Okay, good. That's awesome. But can you scale that to 10 million, 15, $20 million? If you're doing $20 million, can you have a company where literally 50%, $10 million of your $20 million are coming from repeat and referral? There's one company. I'll talk about that a little bit at the very, very end of this. So stay around for that. Let's do this before we get into the meat of this. I want to go through a couple of our sponsors here. We've got several sponsors of the webinar. You are here today because the sponsors have invited you. If the sponsors did not exist, then they would not, then you wouldn't be here. They wouldn't have invited you. Now, also understand that these same sponsors sponsor the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. I'm going to encourage you again to go look that up and listen to it. Scroll through, you will find a gold mine. First one is called Destination Motivation. These are the guys that offer vacation vouchers for 7-day cruises or resort vacations that you can use either as a promo when you're advertising to drive more leads, or you can use them in your sales presentation to boost your closing ratios and essentially not 100%, but virtually eliminate your cancellations. Think about this. Let's say you run an ad that says, hey, you don't have to choose between going on vacation and remodeling your bathroom or you're getting a roof or whatever it is. Now you can do both. Or if you're in the home, you can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, if you buy today, I'll send you to Cancun or Branson or Hawaii or on a cruise to the Bahamas, wherever the heck you want to go for a week. I mean, this is a game changer. And no, these are not those stupid BS vacation vouchers from 20 years ago where your customers are forced to sit through that stupid timeshare presentation, which is freaking brutal. This is not that. These vacations are the real deal. If you want to learn more, go to increaseursales.com. That's increase our, L-U-R, like R plural, increaseursales.com. Next one, Project Map It. Love this company, love all these companies, but this guy, Steven over at Project Map It, super cool guy. I want you to go over to projectmapit.com and ask for a demo. Here's what it is. It's an interactive map that you put on your website that showcases all of your previous work, and it lets prospects search by area, by project category, by product types. You can even search by color if you want to. You upload job photos, project descriptions, and collect customer reviews. You can put those on there. It's social proof on steroids. It's a juggernaut that allows you to show the world that you're a credible company that's done a lot of work for a lot of happy customers, and it's right there in their local area. So they can kind of zoom in and say, oh, geez, over here they've done 10 jobs, and over here they've done 32 jobs. It's really, really cool. Seriously, there's no better way to showcase your body of local work, impress your prospective customers. It's all about social proof, and Project Map It delivers it. As they say, show and sell. Go to projectmapit.com for a demo. Okay, tell them that Level 10 told you to come. And then finally, third is Builder Prime. If you're like most contractors, you're running a business on paper and sticky notes using clunky spreadsheets or bare bones CRMs that force you to use a bunch of different programs for all your daily tasks. Enter Builder Prime. It's the only all-in-one CRM that uses that was designed specifically for contractors. Every tool that you need to streamline your operations, win more jobs, make more money. It's the best CRM for remodelers, hands down. You can find more about them at builderprime.com. We actually built that website. We do their SEO. Go take a look at that. We've got a good relationship with those guys. We've known them for a long time. Go check them out. All right, now back to the webinar. Whoops. Before we go back to the webinar, I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to give you an opportunity here to express interest in these companies, and they can reach out to you. Let me do the poll. I'm going to launch it here. Probably should have launched this while I was talking. All right, go ahead and fill that out. If you'd like to learn about any of those companies, they will reach out to you and they'll give you the whole set of details. All right, come on. You got to vote. You got to vote. You got to vote. Let's see who's in the lead. Who's in the lead right now? Project Map It is in the lead. Destination Motivation, close second. Oh, Destination Motivation just took the lead. Builder Prime is in a strong third, but still third. Come on, let's go. It's like calling a horse race. Destination Motivation, Project Map It, Builder Prime, win, show, place. All right, I'm going to close that poll out. Thank you for expressing your interest. The sponsors really, really appreciate it. And it is closed. Okay, let's go on. Tactic number one, integrating identity into all of your advertising and marketing efforts, and I do mean all of them. Here's what most marketing is full of: platitudes and prices. Platitude is a word or phrase that's drearily commonplace and predictable that lacks power to evoke interest through overuse and repetition, but yet you say it like it's some big deal, like it's original, it's significant, it's profound. You might say things like, we got the best products, we got the best service, we're family owned, nobody gives a crap. Seriously, they don't care. Now, if you tell the story right, well, like we're going to talk about in a minute, they might care. But for the most part, if you just say we're family, they don't care. We've been in business since 1431 BC. Or ads, we'll talk about prices and offers. Buy one, get one free, 40% off the second window, 0% financing. Look, those things are okay, but you have to use them sparingly. Otherwise, you're going to train the audience to buy from you because you're cheap. Question for you: are you the cheap guy in town? Answer: very likely you are not. You're probably not. So why would you spend all of your time, effort, energy, and here's a good one, money, telling people to buy from you because you're cheaper, because you have a good deal, because you're going to buy one, get one free, and all of that kind of stuff? Again, I'm not suggesting that you should never use promotions. and have offers. That obviously is a thing that is smart to do in moderation sometimes. What you really need to be doing though is educating the marketplace. Remember the principle about who you are, how you're different, why you're better. And that's what identity is all about. If you're one of those people that likes to take pictures of slides while you're watching a webinar, this is the one that I want you to take a picture of. Words, phrases, and images articulated with power, precision, and passion that instantly, definitively communicate who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when they do business with you. This is identity, and this is what you want to integrate into your advertising and your marketing. This is marketing's job, is to help the marketplace understand that you're different than you're better. Okay, so here's what I found. Most companies do certain things really well. There's reasons that your customers love you. You've got to identify those things, articulate them so that they come alive. I'll give you some examples of this here in just a minute. You've got advantages, but you have to help the prospect visualize what they are. You have to find your story and then tell your story. This is called story selling. If you do this, you will get a following of people that want to do business with you, and all they're going to be doing is waiting until they're ready to do business with you. They're going to know they want to use you. Instead of going to Google and saying, hey, Google, I don't know who to buy a roof from. Who should I get a roof from? And then Google's like, I don't know. How about this guy? You can already preemptively grab them and make them want to do business with you. Now, this is based on something I call the 5 pillars of identity. I'm going to just put them all on the screen real quick. Here's what they are: your products, your workmanship, your bedside manner, your core values, your culture and reputation. Let's look at each of these in a little bit of detail. Each of these points that are on each of these 5 pillars. Now you can think of these pillars as just categories, okay? Categories, pillars. Pillars a little bit trickier and it looks cooler on the graphic, but they're just categories. So what are the individual identity points within each of these categories or pillars? For products, like you can see on the screen here, things like stronger and more durable, more energy efficient, better looking, more colors, more secure. Maybe they operate better, better selection, manufacturer's warranties. Maybe they're more effective or last longer. They have a tighter fit, heavy duty, whatever the case is. Now, here's what I found in my 3 decades of doing this. And yes, that makes me officially old. I've been doing this now for 29 years to be precise. Here's what I found. There are some companies that will try to use their products as identity points in their advertising. So they'll maybe be a window company that says, hey, our windows are 2,000% more airtight. And that's good and that's fine. Or our windows are more secure, or our siding is more durable and it's more beautiful. Those are all things that are okay to do. But I'm going to encourage you to go far past just talking about your products, because at the end of the day, if you've got great products, I'm going to give you a little tip here. Other companies also have great products. It's not really what's going to differentiate you and help you to stand apart. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing and that you shouldn't use your product to clear 5 points. I put it on my own stupid webinar. So hopefully that gives you some idea. But if that's the only thing that you're using to differentiate yourself, then that's going to be problematic, because it's going to be easy for people to copy. What you want to do is look into these other 4 sections: workmanship, not cutting corners, attention to detail, doing things right the first time, slowing down. People always want to get things done fast, 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 fast. What if you told people that you actually slow down so that you do it right? Quality, right? Quality materials. Okay, and I'm going to give you a great example here in a minute of how to actually tell the story about quality materials. So hold on for that. I'm going to give you an ad example in just a second. Worker oversight, no subcontractors, perhaps, training, installation standards, warranties. Now let's be clear here. I'm not telling you that you have to specialize in all of these things. What I'm telling you is, and here, let me put it on the screen. From each of these 5 pillars, identify 3 things that you really excel at that map well to your company, and then find stories, examples, and comparisons that you can tell so that people will understand, again, who you are, how you're different, why you're better. Remember, it starts with power, precision, and passion. Power, precision, passion. This is where the storytelling, the story selling comes in, is finding the stories that you can tell that are going to make the difference, okay? The 3rd category, pillar, is going to be bedside manner. Maybe it's things like being punctual or communication, easy, accurate quotes, no sales pressure, no pricing games. Let's see, clean and clean up, worker appearance, hiring standards, kind and courteous, we listen, no money down. I'll give you an example of a no money down ad in just a minute that says it in a way that's engaging. It's not just a bullet point, it's actually an identity point because we're going to flesh it out with a story. I'll show you that example in a minute. And then finally, what do we have here? On time and on budget. Next, core values: integrity, respect, compassion, teamwork, enthusiasm, accountability, trustworthiness, friendliness, reliability, consumer advocate. Just did a podcast recently called 5 Ways to Become a Consumer Advocate. I think it ran probably yesterday, maybe next week, can't remember, but it's there. It's a good thing to look at in your company. Loyalty, service, relationships. And here's the idea with core values. I want you to understand this. You cannot go out in your advertising and say, we are a company of integrity. Our company has integrity. You can't do that because of course you will say that. Anybody can say that. You've got to transform the identity point into an actual story so that it comes alive and it's engaging and people then understand and believe it. So here's what you've got to do. Look at the bottom of the screen. You've got to find stories, examples, and comparisons. So if you've got integrity in your company, then you've got to tell the story. So I'll give you an example of this. One of my, I'll bet Steve Renenkamp is on this webinar right now because the guy's on freaking everything. The guy's a beast, he's awesome. He wrote an ad one time and he asked me to review it. And it said something to the effect of Energy Swing Windows has won its second straight torch award from the BBB. I think this is when he only had 2. He's got 3 now. The company's amazing. Anyway, he sent this over and it was an advertorial. It runs in the newspaper. It looks like a newspaper article, but it's actually an ad. You know what I'm talking about? Advertorial. And I read it and it was all about this BBB Torch Award. And I looked at it and I said, A, nobody's ever heard of the BBB Torch Award. B, nobody cares about the BBB Torch Award. C, why don't you tell a story that's more interesting than you won an award? Nobody freaking cares. Oh yeah, but people do care that I won an award. Hey, how about this? Why don't you tell them why you won the award? Oh, that's interesting. Guess what the award is issued for or awarded for? It's awarded to companies that have ethics and that are, I think that's just it. It's ethics. I said, well, give me an example of when you were ethical. And he told the story about when they installed this door for a customer, but it came in and it was the wrong size. I think it was the wrong size. And so they sent it back. And then it came again and it was the wrong material. I think it was supposed to be fiberglass and it was metal or something like that. I might have the details slightly wrong, but you get the idea. This is actually in my book, Unlocking Unlimited Lead Flow. If you want to read that, you can see the actual ad. And then, so they had to send it back the third time. And finally, they went out to the customer and the customer said, well, we'll take the door, I guess. And they installed the door. They gave it to him for free. They lost $8,000 on the job. And this is an example, a story of how their company is ethical. They do the right thing, even though it costs them money. Okay, so think about your stories. And then the fifth thing over here, fifth pillar or category, culture and reputation, community outreach, you working with charity, what are you doing there? That might be interesting. Your reputation, your financial stability, the origin story, online reviews, financing, awards and accolades that you may have won, associations, your history and heritage, promises, things like this. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually integrate this and do this. So this is a radio ad. I was going to play the actual ad, but the setup on the webinar software is a little bit funky to get it to actually play through. So I'll just read it to you. It's on the screen. You can read it yourself. This is for a company called Jericho, bathroom remodeling company, kitchen remodeling company. And here's the ad. One of the most common questions we get about kitchen and bathroom remodeling is, how much does it cost? But the question you should be asking is, how much does it weigh? How much does it weigh? Actually, you can tell a lot about the quality of a kitchen or bathroom by how much the faucet weighs. At Jericho, we only use high quality Moen faucets. They weigh about 10 pounds each. They're solid metal, they look fantastic, and they'll last forever. Other remodelers save money by using off-brand plastic faucets that only weigh about 1.5 pounds. 10 pounds versus 1.5 pounds. If you want a remodeling job that weighs right, call Jericho. Okay, you see how that tells the story? Now, the identity point is quality materials, but this is a much more powerful way to tell that story. Let's go to the second example. This is a company called Joyland Roofing. John from Joyland Roofing here. Quick question for you. Would you eat at a restaurant that makes you pay half of your bill before they serve you? Or take a car to a mechanic that makes you pay $500 or $1,000 before they even pop your hood? Of course not. So why pay a roofer a deposit before they've replaced your roof? You shouldn't. And at Joyland Roofing, you won't. Instead of requiring a 30 to 50% down like most roofers, we won't accept a dime until the job is 100% complete and you say you're happy. This gives us incentive to complete the job in a timely manner and with the highest possible quality. You're happy, we're happy, it's a win-win. Okay, this is interesting, it's engaging, it's relevant, and it makes people understand the concept of no deposits. We bring it alive. We talk about restaurants, we talk about mechanics, we talk about other contractors, we compare, okay? I'm gonna give you two more examples and then we're gonna move on. This is a deck company called Hutcherson. They're in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Here's the ad. If you were building a new deck, do you think it matters if the guy who's actually out there doing the work cares about his job? This is Nick at Hutcherson Construction, and I'm here to tell you, it matters a lot. Most deck companies hire the cheapest subcontractors they can find, give them no training, offer no benefits, and then fire them the second they don't have enough work to keep them busy. They can barely pay their bills, they hate their jobs, and that's the guy out there with a hammer and saw building your deck. At Hutcherson, our installers are the lifeblood of our company. We treat them that way. They're actual W-2 employees who we pay well and give full benefits, insurance, 401k matching, vehicles, the works. We keep them busy all year long and they love their jobs. Yes, it costs a bit more to treat people right, but just wait until you see your gorgeous new deck built with love by employees who love their jobs. It's a great ad. It tells the story about the employees. Now I'm going to give you one more from the same company. Only 5-star reviews. It goes like this. Ever notice how most people never leave online reviews unless they're really mad and they want the entire world to know just how bad their experience was? Nick from Hutcherson Construction here, and believe it or not, we only have 5-star reviews. No 4 stars, no 3 or 2 or 1-star reviews, only 5-star reviews. I'm serious. Google Hutcherson Construction, click on the reviews, and you'll see that our lowest review is 5 stars. Think about that. We build decks. Our industry is notorious for overpromising and under-delivering. And yet, in 7 years, we don't have a single solitary customer that gave us less than 5 stars. We treat our customers right. We do what we say. We finish on time. And we never charge more than we quoted. Oh, by the way, we build the most gorgeous, durable, amazing decks you've ever seen. Want to be our next 5-star customer review? And of course, all of these ads go on to give the contact information, website, phone number, etc. Okay. Now, how does this work? Remember, our topic today is how to squeeze more sales out of the leads that you already have. Let me show you how this works. We started working with Hutcherson Construction in January of this year with a budget of $7,700 a month. Now that's pretty cheap because he's in a relatively small market. We put him on 3 stations. February had the highest month ever with 158 leads versus only 52 the year before, February 2022. So what was happening in February 2022? Everything was going haywire, awesome, and he still smoked it this year. And then from the period of time, January to March, from the time we started this campaign to the end of March, $274,000 in sales off the radio. And I emailed him recently and I asked him, tell me about these leads. Do they convert at a higher percentage? He said, yes, they closed at 11% higher than average. 11% higher than average what? Then all of his other leads that he has combined, these leads, the radio leads that tell the story, that talk about 5-star reviews, that talk about how his employees love it. He's also got one called deposit hopping, talking about how they don't take deposits. All of these different things combine to an 11% higher closing ratio and a $9,000 higher average ticket. Okay, do you want to squeeze more sales out of your existing leads? Well, how about you generate better leads from people that actually know who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what they can expect when they do business with you, and communicate that with power, precision, and passion, which is exactly what I've showed you here today. Now, I'm going to offer you right now a free website audit. Get your cell phone out, pull out the little camera thingy and scan this QR code. It's going to take you to our website. Or if you want to just go directly to the website, you go to level10audit.com and we'll audit your website. And part of that audit, there's 3 main parts of the audit. There's a part called getting on Google's radar, where we'll see if your website is sending the right signals to Google to show up in the right, to get you even on Google's radar. Then ranking, how well you're doing at ranking. The third part is called conversionability. And we'll look at how well your website does at converting people who are on there, no matter where they came from, into actual leads and customers. Okay, Now, a big part of that is identity. If you're not talking about your identity, you're not telling those stories, you're not helping people understand with power, precision, and passion on your website, how you're different, why you're better, what they can expect when they do business with you, guess what? You're going to get out converted by other companies that do. This is important stuff. It's not just ads, it's not just radio, it's also the home show. And it's the mailers that you send out, and it's your website, and it's everything that you do when you step up to somebody's door to do canvassing. It's what you say, it's what comes out of your mouth. It's when you pick up the phone to greet a prospect, it's what comes out of your mouth. But I'm gonna help you audit this from your website standpoint. That's the easiest thing to audit. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, fill that out and find a slot that's open. I know that there's only a couple slots open next week, but if you get into October, there's a ton of slots open to review that audit with me. So we'll talk to you about that then. All right, let's go to tactic number 2, implementing a pre-positioning campaign right now, okay? This is important stuff. You don't wanna wait on this. I was gonna say something, I'm just gonna move on. Pre-positioning, here's what it is. When a prospect engages you, when they contact you, when they have any kind of interaction with you, you want to start pre-positioning. You want to send out product guides, contractor standards guides. You want to make sure your inbound phone scripts are on point. You want to have lead confirmation emails and text messages and phone calls that you make. It's not on there, but that's important. And then finally, text messages to identity-based blog posts. So let's go through this. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about helping people who want to do business with you. How do you know they want to do business with you? Because they reached out to you. They either called you on the phone or they filled out a form somewhere online because they indicating that they want to do business with you, whether that's a third-party lead aggregator generator, or maybe they're on your own website. They saw your pay-per-click ad. Maybe they found you through SEO, and boom, here they are now. They're filling out a form. Now they're in contact. Now you've got to start pre-positioning, okay? So let me give you an idea. Here's a guide we put together for Hanson's Homeowner's Guide to Replacement Windows. Now, here's what I want you to understand about this. The average person that you're going to do business with has bought what you're selling approximately 0 times in their life. 0. Not once or twice, not 3 or 4 times. They've bought 0 roofs before. And I know this because the statistics are there. Typically, it's about 15% of homeowners have bought whatever it is you're selling in the past. So it's not 0, but most of them, 85% of them, have bought what you're selling 0 times. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to reach out to them with stuff, in this case, a guide, and you're going to educate them. Now, obviously, you can put this on your website. I'm going to ask you to put this not behind a paywall, but behind a form wall, okay? They're going to have to request this by either requesting the document or by setting an appointment. Here's one called the Permanent Roofing Solution, the last roof you'll ever buy. This is for metal roofing. Here's one for an electrician, service with a woman's touch. Here's one for another roofing contractor, selecting a roofing contractor. Roofing 101, what every homeowner must know about roofing installation, complements of Superior One Roofing, okay? You could do this for gutter protection. You could do this for windows, homeowner's guide to replacing your windows, siding, whatever it is you do. Now, what goes in this report is stuff that people need to know, okay? How do you know if it's time to replace? What kind of materials are used? What kind of processes are used? How do you find a contractor? All of the things that people need to know. Now, it doesn't need to be 87 pages. It needs to be 10, 12, 14, maybe at the maximum 20 pages long. That's it. Put this together, and I'm going to encourage you. Well, I'm going to encourage you in just a second. I'm going to show you one other thing that I'm going to encourage you, then I'm going to double encourage you. Ready? Here we go. Here's something called a Contractor Standards Guide. Code of Ethics and Competency Contractor Standards Guide. How to choose the right contractor the first time. This is one we put together for Rebath. It's been a few years. And then here's what's inside there. Now I'm going to blow this table of contents up on the screen so it's a little bit bigger so you can easily see this. Here's what it is. Four areas here: stability, reputation, professionalism, and workmanship. And you can see under stability, company tangibles, bank letter, supplier letter, insurance certificate, business license. Well, what am I talking about here? Here's what I'm talking about. What if you went over to your bank and you said, hey, bank, I want you to put on your letterhead as the bank a letter that says something like this: to whom it may concern, let it be known that XYZ Remodeling has been a customer of ours for 17 years, and during that time has been a faithfully strong, financially strong company. They pay their bills on time. They have sufficient balances. And as far as we know, they are a financially strong company. Signed, sincerely, President of the bank. Then we put this in this guide, and we say to people, hey, make sure that your contractor that you're doing business with has a signed letter from their bank stating their financial stability. And if a contractor cannot provide this letter stating financial stability from their bank, that's a red flag. We can do the same thing from the supplier. To whom it may concern, let it be known, XYZ Remodeling has bought roofing materials from us for the last 11 years. During that time, they have never missed a 10-day 2% discount. They're a faithful customer. They always pay their bills on time. They're a fantastic customer. We love them. As far as we know, they're financially strong, as evidenced by always paying on time and taking advantage of our discounts. Signed, sincerely, name of person at Supply House. See how that works? And then you put that in there. And then under reputation, memberships in any association, put the certificate, show a picture of it, customer references, put their names and pictures in there, accolades, awards that you've won. If you're on the top 500, put it in there. If you won an award from the local Better Business Bureau for an ethics award, put it in there. All of that stuff. Professionalism. Here's something. It's called a no pressure sales agreement. Here's what that is. It's an eight bullet point list that says, we agree to the following. And then it says things like, we'll respect your time, we'll respect your property, we'll show you every option that makes sense for you, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions, we'll put no pressure on you. If you cannot afford the investment, we will not pressure you to buy. And at the end, if it's not a good fit, we won't put any pressure on you. And it's signed by the owner of the company and the sales manager and the salesperson. It's called a no tricks, no pressure sales agreement. And you put that in your guide and you say, hey, look, we've got this thing called a no tricks, no pressure sales agreement. The industry is known for high pressure sales. We don't do that. And then tell them, if you don't have the signed agreement from other companies, then you can probably expect high pressure sales because it's the norm in this industry. Okay. That's the contractor standards guide. Now, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to encourage you to put these together, take some time and effort to think them through. If you want some examples, reach out to me, Rich at level10contractor.com. Be happy to show you some samples. And then here's what you do. I'm about to get very radical on you here. You ready? I'm going to go old school and radical on you. I'm going to be like the grumpy old man on the porch. Print them. Print them. Print them. And send them to people before you ever show up. The guide for the product and the guide for selecting a contractor. Mail them, priority mail, FedEx them. It's expensive, it costs money, it's a pain in the butt. Guess what's going to happen? This is called pre-positioning. You're going to, at a bare minimum, impress them because you're going to show up with stuff before you get there for the appointment. You're going to outcompete the competitors. You're going to be educating them on things that they want to know. People say to me all the time, well, who's going to read that? Nobody's going to read all that. Who's going to read all that? Here's the answer. The guy that's about to drop freaking 20 grand on Windows, that's who's going to read that. We think that because we're so familiar with windows or siding or roofs or kitchens that everybody just knows everything. It's called the curse of knowledge. You assume that everybody knows what you do, but they don't. They don't understand anything. They're completely at your mercy. And the more you spend time educating them, the more they're going to, here's a good word, trust you. Trust you. Well, but we set appointments for today. We can't get this there before today. I don't know. Uber Eats gets crap places. Why can't you get crap places? Call Uber Eats and say, here, come pick this up and deliver it over there. How much is Uber Eats going to charge you? I don't know. Figure it out. Worst case scenario, you're going to send this via email. But then if you show up tonight and you haven't had a chance to get there because you're not going to Uber Eats it over there, which I would, but if you don't, you say, well, geez, it costs a lot of money to Uber Eats stuff. Yeah, here's what else it costs a lot of money. To not close deals that you should have closed. That costs a lot of money. Maybe you should think about that. You want to close all the deals. You want your closing ratio. Remember what our topic is today? How to squeeze more sales out of your existing leads. This is how you do it. You pre-position. You help people understand who you are, how you're different, why you're better. You give them this information, you put it in their hands, you Uber Eats it over to them. And if you don't have a chance to Uber Eats it to them, when your salesperson shows up, he hands it to them, puts it in their hand. It's going to cost you $3 to print that stupid thing. And if you print 1,000 of them, that's $3,000. Guess what? Here's what Jim Rohn would call that: chicken feed. Get that to the people. Okay? Do it. Then, next part of pre-positioning, inbound lead call. After taking the general information on the inbound call, or if you're calling them back for whatever reason, talk about the pre-positioning materials. Have you had a chance to look at our website? One of the things that we're known for is whatever your identity is, okay? Now, not the whole identity, not everything, not every story you have to tell, but the major things, the important things. Now, guess what? If it's not on your website, you can't do this. It needs to be on your website. If you don't have an identity-based website, are you nuts? you are screwing yourself out of tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales, if not millions of dollars of sales, because people are not going to understand who you are, how you're different, why you're better. They're going to go on your website. It's going to look pretty. You're going to go, oh, yeah, whatever. It's just another company. Don't do that. It's dumb. Remember that audit that I offered you earlier? Let's take a look and see if you're doing it right. Okay. One of the things that we're known for is whatever your identity is. I'm going to mail or email, hopefully mail, Uber Eats, whatever, you a report, and then focus on identity and no pressure sales. Let them know, hey, there's something that we do called the no tricks, no pressure sales agreement. I just want you to know, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, when we show up at your house, we're there to help you make the best decision possible. We know that you probably haven't bought this before. Ask the question before you say that. And as a result, what we're there to do is help you understand. We're going to show you what you need to know. We're going to show you different ideas. We're going to give you things that are within your budget range. And then we're going to step back and let you decide. No pressure. Now, what do you think is going to happen when you show up as a salesperson to a person who's been pre-positioned accordingly? Okay. Confirmation call. I'm not going to go through this. Same thing. Focus on those same materials. Recap a benefit of pre-positioned materials. You are going to be perceived as caring. Your product is going to seem important. You're going to preemptively destroy your competitors. Appointments are going to hold up. You're going to start price conditioning. Here's a letter from a roofing company that uses these materials. Here's what they said. I'm just going to show you a part. What's just as amazing are the hidden benefits. My sales manager is actually having fun with the new approach and sales tools. He's now commonly greeted on the first call in a friendlier way, sometimes a relieved sort of way. The customer says they feel like they have someone they can trust. Keyword, trust. They actually talk about the ad when they call in person. It's really amazing. Our presentation is so much stronger than ever. Customers regularly tell us that we're by far the most professional company they've ever seen. Guess what? It's the same dumb company it was before they had the pre-positioning materials. Now they're just telling people what to look for. They're helping people understand who they are, how they're different, why they're better, and they're believing them. It feels good. Everyone in the company has a new focus, could feel the positive momentum since we started this, okay? Pre-positioning. This is how you squeeze more dollars out of every lead. Tactic number 3, get to your leads faster, more thoroughly, and more frequently, more frequently. Okay, you guys already know this stuff. I'm going to just tell it to you real quick. Contact rates significantly drop after 5 minutes. This is according to a Harvard study that was conducted. Here's what they found. Contact rate, 100x decrease from 5 to 30 minutes. Qualification rate, 21x decrease from 5 to 30 minutes. Here's what this means. You should be getting in contact with your leads. Now, if they phone in, obviously you're already in contact with them. That's easy. I'm talking about the leads that come in through forms. Again, whether that's through lead aggregators or through your own forms on your own websites, if you're not in contact with them, here's a good standard for you. Ready for the standard? Here we go. 5 seconds. Here's the standard, 5 seconds. Now, you say, well, I don't know if we can do it in 5 seconds. Guess what? Technology exists to make this happen. Your CRM system should allow you to make this happen. 5 seconds, get in contact with these people. For inquiries submitted on the web, 78% of sales go to the first company to respond. Here's your standard. Are you ready? 5 seconds. Do you want to get more sales, 20% more sales out of the leads that you already have? Or do you just want to go to some guy's webinar and sit there and take notes and then not do anything? You've got to get to these leads quicker. You have to. It's imperative. This is how you get more money out of your same lead flow. Here's what they found in these research projects. 38% of reps will only try to call once. 28% will call twice. On down, 4% will call the prospect 6 times. If you don't get a hold of them the first time, keep trying. Also, guess what? Text them. Text them. If you don't have automatic texting via a company like Hatch or similar, sending out text messages to your prospects instantaneously when they become leads, that's dumb. The technology exists. If you're not using it, it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. The technology is there to make this happen. You just got to look into it, okay? The chance of getting through, call 1 time, you're going to get a 38% chance, all the way down to 5 times, you're going to have a 90% chance. You got to keep trying, okay? You can do this via automation. Use automation. Here's what this means in dollars and cents. Let's say you get 20 leads a week, make 1 or 2 attempts, okay? You can see how this works. 6 attempts, you're going to 60% contact, you're going to get more contacts, okay? 3 times as many appointments without another dollar spent. Some of you have your game on point. Others of you, not so much. I'm going to encourage you strongly to get your speed to lead game on point, okay? Using texting, I talked about this in the preset to get them to set the appointment, before the appointment to continue to educate them before you show up. Your sit-no sales, you should be contacting these folks with text messages. Remember I talked earlier about the drill sergeant? The drill sergeant should be looking at your leads and freaking screaming at them, and spit should be coming out of his mouth, getting in their faces. They should be intimidated and scared. That's what you need to do with these leads. You need to send them texts when you first get it, after they set the appointment. If they decide not to buy for whatever reason, continue to bombard them with text. Yes, I used the word bombard. What do you think the drill sergeant's going to do? You think he's going to use a word that's less severe than the word bombard? No, of course not. He's going to bombard the freaking crap out of those guys. He's going to make sure that they understand. And what do you send? Text messages. Hi, Josh. Jeff from Solid State Construction. Look forward to our appointment on Thursday, January 14th at 1. Here's what to expect from me as your project consultant. Click on that. Goes to blog post that talks about how our people do not have high pressure sales. Hi, Josh. It's Jeff from Houston Roofing. Are you still looking to replace your roof? Make sure you avoid fraud by following these steps. And then we have a blog post called How Does Free Roof Paid Entirely by Your Insurance Company Sound? It's fraud. That's how it sounds. Here's another one. Hey, Josh, Jason over at Exterior Pro. Thanks for choosing us for your new roof. And this would be for after they have signed up. We go above and beyond to make sure the installation process is smooth as possible. Rest assured we'll make things right in the rare case something doesn't go as planned. Here's an example. And then there's a blog post about a time when they ruined flowers and they paid $700 to fix them. Okay, integrity, right? All right, let's go to tactic number 4. Right, we're on the downhill slope here. We're going to get to these last 2 fairly quickly, and then I'm going to let you go. Got about 15 more minutes here. Tactic number 4, use AI to improve your sales team's performance. AI. Yep, we're in the era of AI. If you're not strongly, consistently looking at how to use AI, you're losing to those who are. This is called virtual ride-alongs. There's a company called Real Voice. They were made, I was made aware of this company by my clients who reached out to me and said, hey, do you know anything about Real Voice? I said, no, heard of it, but I don't know about it. They said, you got to look into this. It's amazing. I've had this guy on my podcast, Sebastian. It's a great company. Here's what it is. It's an app that you put on your sales reps' phones. They push record before they go in the home. The legalities surrounding that are in check. Don't worry about that. Ask questions later. Go with me for now. Records and analyzes what the reps are saying and doing. It's like virtual ride-along. It's like if your sales manager could go for ride-along on every single sales presentation that all of your reps do. So example, if you got 5 reps doing 12 a week, that's 240 per month. But here's the key. This is not so you can go back and listen to all of these appointments. That's a lot of appointments, 240 in this example. Here's what's going to happen. The AI is going to analyze those and make suggestions. What do I mean? Here's what I mean. Well, first, before I tell you what I mean, let me show you the hallmarks of top salespeople. This is according to an analysis that Real Voice did on, I think it was something like 30,000 sales appointments. Here's what they found. Average performers, sales meetings, this is in the home improvement industry, by the way, 45 to 70 minutes for average performers. They talk 75 to 80% of the time because how do they know? Because Real Voice is freaking measuring it, okay? And it's creating dashboards with the statistics on a rep by rep basis. It asks, and these guys ask an average of 5 open-ended questions. Top performers, on the other hand, guess what? Sales meetings take 110 minutes. It's 2 hours basically. They only talk 45 to 65% of the time. Look at the comparison on the screen here. And they ask an average of, 25 open-ended questions. I wonder why the meeting's taking longer. Because the guy's asking more questions and he's getting more input and dialogue from the customer, from the homeowner, from the prospect. I wonder why he's selling more. Well, here's the problem. You've got these guys out there talking to leads that you spent your money to generate, and they're blowing it because they're not doing it right. So here's what Rilla does. You tell Rilla what your important variables are. Now you don't have to do this yourself. You'll sit down with their guy and they'll onboard you and they'll figure this out and they'll set it up for you. Specific steps in your sales process. So let's say you've got a 10-step sales process. Well, we identify those, put those into there, and then Rilla Voice is going to make sure that you're actually following the 10 steps. And then it benchmarks your top performers, compares the weaker performers against them. Maybe they're not spending enough time on, I don't know, financing or the company story or whatever the thing is that's important to you. Maybe they're talking too much or they're not asking enough questions like we just went through. Maybe they're not using the trial closes and the tie downs and all those kinds of things. Here's what happens when you use this product. Your conversion ratios goes up by 5 to 25%. And I know this is true because I've talked to my customers who swear by this. If you haven't heard of it, if you don't know anything about it, you need to look into this. I'm going to do another poll here in just a minute. I'm going to give you an opportunity to choose that you want to learn more about Rilla Voice. If you do, you can just click that on the poll. I'll send this over to those guys and they can take it from there, okay? So conversion ratios are gonna go up. That's Real Voice. Yeah, I'm gonna do this poll right now. Now, we've got 3 more sponsors here. By the way, Real Voice is not a sponsor, just a company that I love and I wanna share with people. But I do wanna tell you about these 3 sponsors. One Click Contractor. It's a software that streamlines your entire selling process. By the way, don't check out yet. I've got one more thing to cover. And then I've got some final tips for you on your getting your customer repeat and referral up to 50%. Remember that? So One Click Contractor, software that's going to streamline the entire sales process, moves everything from paper to digital. Okay, paper to digital. That's the key. You can impress your customers. You save time by effortlessly and quickly delivering accurate, professional, customized estimates and contracts, including financing and e-sign. Okay, this was a software that was created by contractors for contractors, includes everything you need to streamline the process, integrates with any other application that you can think of seamlessly, makes your life super easy. The software is a no-brainer. It'll make you money. Go to oneclickcontractor.com for a demo. One Click Contractor. Next is Engage. Okay, I think everybody knows about Engage by now because these guys are freaking everywhere, including on my podcast, including on this webinar. It's for good reason. This is an amazing software. Okay, it's a digital presentation platform. And I think it's mandatory that you start using it right now. If your sales team is using PowerPoint or paper-based flip charts, or my gosh, if they're just freaking winging it, it's time to level up, okay? The folks at Engage will take your sales presentation, digitize it so that you're giving the presentations on your iPad or your laptop, and it's freaking awesome because it not only looks amazing, but gives your sales reps the flexibility to effortlessly move around their presentation. So instead of a linear flip chart or a linear PowerPoint, it's more like a website where you say, well, let's talk about financing. Oh, let's talk about the company story. Oh, let's talk about the products. And then you just, touch your screen, boom, you go to the exact section. It's cloud-based, means you can update the presentation anytime you want. Every sales rep is always going to be on exactly the same wavelength with the most recent version. It's a no-brainer. Do me a favor, reach out to these guys. You're going to be blown away. Engage.io. Engage.io. Now, the last one on here is Regions Bank. It's Enterbank. And I'm going to talk about financing at length. Well, I'm going to spend about 5 minutes on it here in just a second. So this is our financing partner. And I'm going to open this poll to you right now where you can ask for more information. Okay, I just launched that. Please fill that out. Let's go. Come on, y'all. Show some love to these guys. Enterbank, Real Voice, One Click Contractors. Let's see, One Click Contractors in the lead. Engage, Enterbank. Now you guys do me a favor and click Enterbank right now because I'm about to talk about financing. It's a little bit out of order, and you're going to be blown away by my conversation on financing. Okay, One Click Contractor, got it. Engage, got it. Enterbank, if you're interested in Real Voice, click that also. Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 more seconds, and a 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1, and we're gonna close this poll. All right, and we're gonna move on down the road. Contents of women's magazines. You're beautiful just the way you are, and ads about losing 20 pounds in 4 weeks. That's funny. All right, also, if you want the free website audit, get your phone out right now and do that thing with the QR code. And if you don't want to do that, you can go to level10audit.com. All right, I'll show that again at the very end if you missed it for some reason. All right, let's go to number 5. There's 5 tactics here we're talking about, getting more sales out of the leads that you have. And I believe very strongly in using financing first, middle, and last. Okay, so you might be saying to me, oh, I don't need to hear this. I'm going to just get off this stupid webinar because I already got what I want and now I'm going to be done. No, you need to listen to me because you're probably using it wrong. You need to be using financing first, middle, and last. Most of you, if you're using it at all, are using it last. You're using it as a last ditch saver. Like if you can't get the deal, you're like, well, maybe we'll finance it for you. So here's some myths. Myth number 1, my customers don't need or want financing. That's nonsense. The truth is they're lying, or they don't know how to ask for it, or they'll use it if you make it available. And 38% of homeowners said they wouldn't have made a purchase without financing. Also a myth, financing costs too much. So I'll only use it as a last ditch effort, right? It's $15,000, you spring it on them, it's $15,000. They're like, geez, that's a lot of money. You're like, oh, well, maybe we could do it for $499 a month or whatever the payment amount is. This is a problem, okay? The truth is financing doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't, it's free. It's not only free, it makes you money. You say, well, how's it free when it actually costs me money? It's called ROI. Yes, it costs money. They're going to charge you a fee to use it. However, here's what you're going to find. You're going to find average sale goes up. 5,000, this is according to industry statistics. They're a little bit old, but go with the principle here. Average sale with no interest is paid in 12 months offer, 6,800. It goes up to that with no interest is paid in 36 months. Check this out. Longer term, low APR financing, $7,400. Now let's assume it's about 4,500 if there's no financing involved. That statistic wasn't involved, but we know it's 5,500 with no interest is paid in 12 months. It's an increase of 67%. So let's run the numbers on that. If the average no financing sale is 4,500, long-term low APR 7,500, it's about $3,000. Gross margins, let's call it 1,500. Financing is going to cost you 6%, $450. So you're making about an extra $1,000 on that sale. Here's a good question for you. Do you want to make an extra $1,000 per sale? Now think about this. What if your numbers are a lot higher? What if your average sale isn't $7,600 or $7,400 or whatever? What if it's 15 or 20 or $37,000? This is a major tool that you should be using. Now, let me show you how to use it first, middle, and often. Don't use it as a last-ditch effort to save lost deals. Sell the payments just like the car companies do. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, we offer several. This is at the beginning of the presentation. When you just sit down, you go through the warm-up, then you say this. We offer several financing, I can't talk anymore, financing options to make this project affordable. How much money do you feel would fit comfortably into your monthly budget to make this project happen? Okay, this is a really, 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 that's 4 reallys or 5 maybe, important question. How much money do you feel would comfortably fit into your monthly budget to make this happen? Now, they might say, well, we don't want to, no, we're just going to pay cash. Okay, great, fantastic, now we know. But they might say, well, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it. Or they might say, well, I don't know, maybe $400 or $500 or whatever their number is. Now you can have a conversation with them about it. Give them prices always in terms of monthly payments. So let's say that they come out and they say, well, I hadn't really thought about it. Well, let's think about it for a second. I mean, how much do you think would easily fit into your monthly budget? They say, well, after a little bit of back and forth, maybe it's $500. Then here's what you say. Great, Mr. Johnson, I want you to know this. We can absolutely do this job for $500 a month. Absolutely, positively, we can do this for $500 a month. Don't worry about the money anymore. I want you to sit back and relax. I'm going to educate you on what you need to know. And I want you to understand that this is already going to be affordable. You say that right up front, put them at ease. Give the price in terms of monthly payments. Look, if you need to negotiate a longer contract to accommodate that $500 or whatever their number is, great, do it. This is going to make you an extra $1,000 to $3,000 per customer. This is the real deal. The statistics are there. Try it and you will see. Where do you use it? Advertise monthly payments on your ads. Now, you might say, well, I thought it was an identity thing that you want to advertise. Yes. And at the end of those ads, guess what we say? We come on there and say, hey, and right now we've got 10% off and 0% for 36 months. Okay. We tag it on the end of the ad, or you can put it on a print ad or whatever you want. Put it on your website. Rehash situations. That's a good one. Rehash early in the sales meeting, later in the sales meeting. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. If you haven't already, if you'd like us to audit your website and take a look at it and see if it's properly set up to generate leads, this is what we call dominating local search in 12 months or less. This SEO audit is going to show you if your website is set up to do that or not. It's going to tell us if you're getting on Google's radar or not, if your website is properly coded and written, if the content is the right kind of content, and if it's set up correctly according to geo keyword pairs so that Google knows precisely where it is you do stuff and what it is that you're selling. You'd be shocked. The average website audit that we see is 27 out of 100 points. 27. What if your kid brought home a 27 on his report card? The answer is you'd be furious and they'd be grounded for, I don't know, probably for 5 minutes, because parents nowadays are wusses. When I was a kid, if I brought a 27 home, I wouldn't be here giving this webinar right now because I would be dead. That's what my dad would have done back in the 80s and 70s if I brought home a 27. Yet your website is bringing home a 27 right now. I promise you. Don't believe me? Fill this form out, set up a time to talk to me. We'll go through it. I'll show you all the details. I'll show you how it's doing well, very few places, how it's not doing well, probably a lot of places, and we'll go from there. Also, I want to encourage you, when you hear from the various sponsors who are going to be reaching out to you via phone and email, as a courtesy, if you'll engage with them, find out what they have to say and see if it's a good fit. All of the things that we have as sponsors, all of the different companies, We have them because we believe in them. So that's the webinar for today. I am going to open this up for questions right now. If you have a question, feel free to type it into the question thing, and then I will answer it. All right, I have a question here that says, how do you differentiate core values from platitudes? Well, I think I gave a decent example of that when I talked about the example of energy swing windows. And I said, he's got a core value of being ethical, but we've got to tell the story. So here's what we're doing. We're taking, by the way, I'm shifting gears massively here. I'm shifting gears from what are we talking about? Financing and all these things, going all the way back to the beginning when we talked about identity. So you want to make sure that you take your identity points, and then the way that you make them not platitudes is by telling the stories. Stories, comparisons, examples. That's the key. If you've got a more detailed question about that, I'd be happy to answer it. If anybody else has any questions about anything that we talked about today or anything at all, I'd be happy to answer your questions right now while we're together on this. I don't have any other questions that I see, but I'll give you a second to ask them. Let me check the chat. Nothing's there. Let me check the questions. All right. I'm going to say that we have no questions. That means one of two things. That means people fell asleep and now you need to be woken to go do whatever it is you do after this webinar, or I covered everything so thoroughly in such a fine manner that nobody has any additional questions because it's all been covered. Let's see. Just to make sure, because this little box is super hard. Oh yeah, there's some other ones in here. Let me see if I can pull this thing out somehow. There we go. Boom. All right. Let's see. Well, I see people saying stuff, but I don't see any questions. Hey, there is Steve Reddingkamp. I knew he was here. Pamela, thank you for the compliment. And thank you everybody else who's participated. Appreciate you being on here. Again, please, if you haven't listened to the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast, make it part of your daily routine. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.